City of Adelaide Council meeting on Tuesday, 27 January 2026. The Lord Mayor is in the chair. This council meeting will be streamed live and recorded for publishing to the internet. Please note that an audio and visual recording is being taken of this meeting. This means that your presence at and any contribution you make to the meeting may be collected, used, disclosed or published publicly by the Council, including transferring outside Australia.
Good evening. Council acknowledges that we're meeting on the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains and pays respects to elders past and present. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationship with the land. We acknowledge that they're of continuing importance to the Kaurna people living today, and we also extend that respect to other Aboriginal language groups and other First Nations people who are with us this evening. The Council acknowledges the vision of Colonel William Light in determining the site for Adelaide and the design of the city with its 6 squares and surrounding belt of continuous parklands, which is recognised on the National Heritage List as one of the greatest examples of Australia's planning heritage. We pray for wisdom, courage, empathy, understanding and guidance in the decisions that we make, while seeking and respecting the opinions of others. May we in this meeting speak honestly, listen attentively, think clearly and decide wisely for the good governance of the City of Adelaide and the well-being of those we serve. I'll now ask all those present to stand in silence in memory of those who gave their lives in defence of their country at sea, on land and in the air. Thank you. Please be seated. We have no apologies or leave of absence this evening. Could I ask if someone would move confirmation of the minutes? Deputy Lord Mayor moved, seconded by Councillor Marr. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. Are there any conflicts of interest at this stage? Councillor Kouros.
Lord Mayor, I have a general conflict from item 14.2. Do I need to declare that now or before the
form?
I have filled out the form.
And if you could just state the conflict.
I declare a general conflict in relation to this item. As a family business, operate restaurants in the City of Adelaide. I note the motion before relates to outdoor dining arrangements across the entire of the city, and as a matter of general policy that affects all businesses and ratepayers, so I will stay and vote on this matter.
Thank you, Councillor. We'll move to the next item. Councillor.
I have a conflict. I'd like to declare, I suppose there's 2 conflicts. I'd like to declare a material conflict of interest as it relates to court proceedings in the Magistrates Court and a pecuniary benefit in relation to that item.
Could you fill out a form, please, Councillor?
I already did it.
Thank you very much. Which item was that in relation to?
I think it's item 18, is it? But yeah, I have a pecuniary interest.
Confidential item. Thank you. We'll move on to the next item, which is deputations, of which we have none, petitions, which we have nil. And now the quarterly procurement report. Could I ask, actually, who is the chair of that committee?
It's a report direct to Council, Lord Mayor.
Well, Councillor Siebentritt. It's financial to some extent. Moved by Councillor Siebentritt, seconded by the Deputy Lord Mayor. Is there any discussion on that item? Councillor Martin.
Just a question, Lord Mayor. In respect of the central market initiatives, can the administration confirm that they're part of the business plan and budget? That is for the 26-27 financial year? 25-26?
Ask the CEO to respond.
Through the presiding member, Mr Spitalis.
Yeah, through Chair, I apologise. Councillor Martin, can you just repeat the question, please?
Can the administration confirm that the initiatives for the central market are part of the approved budget and business plan for 25 and 26? That is to say, there's no variation?
Through the Chair, the initiatives?
The dollars?
Yes. No, that is part of the 26-27
Thank
business
you, Lord
plan
Mayor.
budget.
Needed to ask that in respect of...
25, sorry, through the Chair, 25-26.
Fire compliance, I think, is the matter.
And the escalator.
And the escalator.
And thank you. And just one more brief question, Lord Mayor. The amount allocated for Salesforce implementation partner I've not seen before. I have Googled one of the programs, a photo that talks about harnessing AI and staff to get better results. Could the administration just expand on what that's all about?
Where does customer service and this belong, Councillor CEO?
Through the presiding member, Mr Spitalis.
Yep, through the Chair, Salesforce, for those that aren't aware, is a customer relationship management piece of software that can be adapted for different purposes. The City of Adelaide has adopted that for those purposes going forward. We're currently going through a pilot with UPark with a view to rolling that out across other parts of the organisation, and we need a subject matter expert effectively to help us do that, which is what that amount is referring to.
Or you're just smiling? Thank you. Sorry. Councillor Giles, do you have your hand up? No? Well, in that case, if no other comments, do you want to sum up, Councillor Siegendrich? No?
Summed up, Lord Mayor.
All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. Now, 11.2, which is the General Assembly of ALGA. That will be towards the end of June, and we need a nominated name to go forward to that. So I can take it in parts, but I have to call for nominations. Okay. I've been advised I should take all of it. So would someone like to move? Councillor Giles moved.
Sorry, that's just moving. Yeah.
And Councillor Snape has seconded. So move the enabling parts of the motion. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Now we have to call for nominations. Councillor Giles.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Noon.
Councillor Noon, will you accept? Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
A question, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Curran.
How many, throughout that time, how many people, who has represented, gone as a representative council at these events, meetings, whatever they're called?
We normally send one representative. I understand there are some councillors that send 6 or 7, but we...
No, what I mean is, who has normally gone from our council each time?
I'll ask the CEO. I don't know who normally goes.
Through the presiding member, paragraph 7 of the report before you outlines the historical representation at the conference.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I missed that, sorry.
See clarification. Were you looking at more history than just the last 3 years?
No, I was just... I mean, no offence to Councillor Noon or Councillor Giles, I just feel that it's the same representation each time and maybe it needs to be changed a little bit. Isn't it Councillor Noon?
Would you like to nominate someone else, Councillor Kouros? Okay. Sorry, thank you. Councillor Cabardo.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Freeman.
Councillor Freeman, will you accept the nomination?
That's very generous, Councillor Kawada. We'll decline that invitation. I have a lot of things.
Councillor Noon, do you wish to speak?
I just want to say that I was nominated last year and I did accept it, but what actually happened was that election thing that upset everyone, and I didn't actually I didn't fulfil my duties because I wasn't able to, because of the timing. So I think it's lovely that Councillor Giles recognises that, and that she's given me the opportunity again to be able to do that.
Thank you. That's in 7.1.1. Councillor Davis.
I was going to nominate Councillor Freeman as well. I think it's actually good for her to go, but in that case, I think it would be good for a new councillor to go. So I'd nominate Councillor Kabata or Councillor Ma or Councillor Freeman. You learn a lot at this conference. Actually, it's really, really good for a new councillor to go.
I know that Councillor Freeman has just declined, so can I ask Councillor Kabata if he would be prepared to take one for us and go there?
I will decline. Thank you.
And so, Councillor Ma, you're the last in line.
Question, Lord Mayor. Can't we all go? Why don't we just all go?
We can.
I think that we could all, in fact, go, but it would require a different funding package.
Question, Lord Mayor. I noticed in previous years there's been a proxy delegate. Are we nominating a proxy tonight as well?
We generally take the nomination and then take a proxy, just in case someone's ill or unable to attend. It saves it coming back to council.
Excuse me, point of order, Lord Mayor. This is getting a bit messy. I thought we had a nomination.
I'm trying to ease them out of you and encourage you, but we can't get any more nominations.
I don't want to create an issue. I'd be quite happy to not accept this nomination, or you can nominate me for proxy if you want, but that's fine. Thank you.
We're not doing proxy at this stage.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Seabentry.
Do you want to go to represent us?
Greatly appreciate it, but I'll decline that. Thank you, Councillor Kabata. Appreciate that.
Exclusion, Councillor Noon is our nomination for this trip. Do we have to have a motion for that?
I need to make a declaration as returning officer.
Yes, could you make a declaration?
Through the presiding member, there being only one nomination for the position of Council's representative at the Elgar National General Assembly, I declare Councillor Noon appointed.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Now, we'll move on to the proxies. Oh, gosh. Sorry. So we'll have to come back to Council if Councillor Noon... I have a very brief report. In the last week, I've attended several commemorations of life and prayer meetings. I attended the Honourable Nick Bolkus's funeral at the Greek Orthodox Catholic Archdiocese of the Archangels, and I attended a service of prayers in commemoration of the National Day of Mourning at St Peter's College, and I also attended the Morning in the Morning on Elder Park. Like many of you, I enjoyed the Santos Tour Down Under, which this year had more activity in the regions than normal, I think, and perhaps a little less in the city of Adelaide. But the Victoria Square village was very well attended. In view of the service for the prayers on the National Day of Mourning, it's worth also recording that today is the International Holocaust Memorial Day, and a day when events around the community are being celebrated and remembered and commemorated. So could someone move my report? Moved by Deputy Lord Mayor, seconded by Councillor Marr. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. We'll move on now to members' reports. Councillor, Deputy Lord Mayor.
As a councillor rep on the Australia Day Council, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our South Australian Australian of the Year, who won the big Australian of the Year prize, astronaut Catherine Bennell Pegg, on this well-deserved recognition. It is a proud moment for our state and a fitting acknowledgement of the contribution she has made to our community and the STEM sector. I also want to sincerely acknowledge the Australia Day Council, the Chair, the Board, the CEO and team for the enormous amount of work that went into planning this year's Australia Day celebrations. While most events were unfortunately cancelled due to extreme weather conditions, with the exception of Morning in the Morning and the 21 gun salute, which were amazing events. The effort, professionalism, the care shown in the preparation of the program should not go unrecognised. The weather was not on our side, but the commitment to deliver respectful, inclusive, meaningful Australia Day events was very clear. And well done to everyone involved. And I also attended with the Lord Mayor the St Peter's Day of Mourning, St Peter's function that was held, which was very moving actually. And it was a great memorial to what happened on Bondi Beach.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Noting that this time period goes back to the 20th of November, I did attend numerous events in the final month and a bit as the Deputy Lord Mayor of Adelaide, and appreciate the opportunity afforded to myself to do so from the Chamber and from yourself. I won't go through them all, don't keep us here all night, but culminating in, of course, the New Year's Eve celebration at Elder Park, which was an absolutely fantastic event, and I just want to take this moment to thank the wonderful City of Adelaide staff for pulling off what is one of the biggest events of the year for our city. Went off with a bang, two, one at 9 o'clock and one at midnight. And I just also want to echo from yourself and from incoming Deputy Lord Mayor how special the Morning in the Morning event was on Monday. And indeed, it is a shame that other events were cancelled, but it was a very respectful and solemn event steeped in the culture of the Kaurna people, and one that I hope will continue to support in future years. And with that, I would like to acknowledge and celebrate Deputy Lord Mayor Carmel Noon and wish her all the success on the year ahead. Thank you.
Noting activities moved by Councillor Seamtritt, second by Councillor Kabada. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. Oops, gosh, it's whizzing past rather fast. Councillor Snape, unveiling of golf course plans.
Yes, I'll seek a seconder, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Martin, second.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord Mayor. I did wonder about proceeding with this one, considering the administration's comment on Part 4. And I certainly acknowledge the skill and expertise of you, Lord Mayor, the CEO, and our wonderful team in the administration in putting forward Council's concerns and areas of note around the North Adelaide Golf Course and what we would like to have that communication deal with. However, I don't think this motion particularly hurts adding on top of that some additional specific concerns in the public realm from this body, this chamber, to the Premier and to the government, specifically requesting information and disclosure around multiple details that were not unveiled in the government's unveiling of the plans. It was, in some comments, it was a plan with no plan. It was a lovely graphic, very well done. The colours contrast was amazing, but the actual specifics in what was released for North Adelaide Golf Course redevelopment was not revealed. The specifics weren't there. And so this motion quite simply asks you, Lord Mayor, if successful, for the government to provide the plan that wasn't given, around the details, around the footprint, the tree loss, the building, car parks, etc., and any groundworks, fencing, public safety. I mean, it's all in the motion. The motion does what it says in the tin, so to speak, and seeks that information which has not yet been forthcoming. I think this is important, especially considering that the government is about to go into caretaker mode to try and get that information as we imagine the incoming government after the election will probably move on this item and this redevelopment quite fast. And so to get that information into the public realm, or at least to the council as a bare minimum, I think is a good step forward. With that, I ask the Council and fellow Council members to support this. It's just about information gathering, no more, no less. Thank you.
Look, Lord Mayor, I'll speak very briefly to this. Just to support Councillor Snape, I acknowledge the administration's response. Councillor Snape, of course, is asking for something completely different. He's asking if the government knows precisely the number down to the last tree that is being removed from the current golf course, then it knows what's going to replace it, whether that's a building, a road, or indeed a fairway. And if it knows that, then there are a great many ratepayers who would like to know that. Indeed, I have many ratepayers who want to know whether they're going to be living opposite a golf course, or whether indeed the road on which they travel each day will be used as an adjunct to some event at the parklands. And so this simply seeks to ask the government, the Premier, Mr Malinauskas, who was in the paper yesterday. It was a lovely photo too. Although he was up to the neck in water this time. But nevertheless, it asks the Premier before the election if he might disclose for our ratepayers what impacts there will be from the activity, the redevelopment of the golf course.
Then it was Councillor Kabada, then Councillor Giles.
Yes, it would be good to have this information, but I don't think, like my guess is, or best guess is, I don't think the state government's just going to have one event there per year. I would imagine that they'll be holding multiple events, paid events, and coordinating this on a fairly regular basis. So I assume that the state government has thought about an entire schedule for that golf course over the year in terms of joining other tours through Australia and potentially other international tours. So my big concern is that we are being sold as this as being a one-off event, and what it will turn into is a multi, 6 events per year with essentially temporary fencing that just stays there the entire time. So I'm not sure if you'd consider amending it or including whether other events have been planned now, and whether the Premier is looking at a schedule over the year, because then if that changes, we'll at least have that put to him in writing. So I'd leave it to the mover and seconder, but I would think that we should ask.
Set the variation if it's...
Yeah, and essentially potentially the administration could assist, but the footprints of all planned and future buildings, associated car parks, and any other events planned or contemplated for the golf course.
Forgive me for leading from the chair, but aren't you talking about the development that was flagged in our own development proposal? Isn't that what you're trying to tease out?
No, I'm
you're
suggesting
not, sorry,
that...
I misinterpreted.
I'm suggesting that that Live Golf is the main event, but to me that doesn't make much commercial sense. To me, if I was the Premier, I would be looking at a schedule over every year of as many events as I could get in there as possible, and turning this into a regular competitive golf course. And so I'd like to put the Premier on notice now in asking him a question whether he's contemplated such a series, because I suspect that's where he will go. And if he refuses to answer it, well, I suppose that we can hold him accountable for that at a later stage. But I would suggest that they've already contemplated a schedule of events for that golf course, but they might not have. But if I was in his shoes, I'd be doing that.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I've got a quick variation as well, if the Mayor and Secretary are happy with it, to ask that it be done in confidence to us. The Premier might not want to reveal, for whatever reasons, the plans of the golf course and what's going to happen. So if the Mayor and Secretary are happy, through the guidance of administration, to help.
Point of order, well, point of clarification.
I'm just not sure what Councillor Kabada was asking for. Can you just repeat it?
For the Premier to do this, or for it to come back to us in confidence.
As a suggestion for a way forward, as point of order, Lord Mayor, I'd be willing to perhaps accept that as a point 5 or 8, in whatever order, and then perhaps we vote in parts. Would that work for Councillor?
Yeah. Sorry. I fear that the Premier will give us what he wants to give us, and I think that there may not be an advantage in suggesting he gives us stuff in confidence, because he may just be disinterested in that. But I think that major events, future major and other events, will be in confidence, because there will be financial matters and there'll be negotiations. So I doubt very much if they will tell you about other events planned. So. Sorry, Councillor Cavada, do you want to carry on speaking? I'm sorry, I. Councillor Giles, Councillor Torres, Councillor Abraham today.
I'd like to add 2 more points, and I apologise for not setting them in earlier, so I will be seeking a seconder. I would like to add a number 5, which is identification of the 585 trees planned to be removed and their status. No, yeah, their status as a tree. Yeah.
I need some help here because I can't quite hear what you're saying.
All right, sorry. Add an additional 5, which is identification of the 585 trees planned to be removed and their status. And number 6, the process that will be put in place to ensure protection of Aboriginal heritage during the development.
Can I just interrupt slightly? We are limited to some extent, because I can't remember, I think it's section 9.1 or 9.1b in the Act requires us to give a list of the things that we wish to be consulted upon, and we have given a list, and it was just resolved in a council meeting earlier in the year, no, last year, and we sent that letter to the Premier giving a list of items. So we can ask for this material, but they might well say that we have sent a request.
Yes, I understand that, Lord Mayor.
If it's not outside, with governance's advice, if it's not outside the realm of scope of variation, happy to accept it as a variation.
Yes. So I think we should get some assistance from the CEO. Thank you.
Through the presiding member, I draw your attention to the 4-part admin comment that reflects on the fact that Council at its meeting on the 22nd of July considered a draft statement outlining the matters relating to the project that they would like to be consulted on. That was a fulsome resolution which has been made public, and the thrust of the admin comment is that the motion has already been acted on by virtue of the invitation extended to the Lord Mayor on the 20th of January to outline the matters on which Council wishes to be consulted. They incorporate all of the 4 points of the original motion and much beyond that, including the proposed variations at 5 and 6. So,
could I just seek clarification? My understanding was that we did not ask about mini golf, the par 3 course, or the golf driving range. They seem to be the elements that we didn't ask.
Can I just respond with respect to the CEO? This motion is is in a different context. The context is about the putting public the plans. In my view, the plans are not planned. There's so much detail missing, and we're looking for it in context of the plans.
Thank you. We'll just get the CEO to respond, because I think the element that's entirely new were the extra buildings, the mini golf driving range. I just need clarification.
Through the presiding member, I'll stand corrected by Mr Herides, but all of the elements of the proposed motion and requests for plans are covered by the statement that's already been provided to the Premier in accordance with the provisions of 9.1a of the North Adelaide Golf Course Act. So I'd refer members to the link at 2 that outlines the comprehensive list of matters that Council has already resolved it wishes to be consulted on. There's nothing before the chamber outside of that.
We've asked for the plan. Can I just a moment, Councillor, can I just ask advice? Are you telling me that we should not have accepted this motion? I mean, does it contribute anything more, or are you saying that it's ultra vires? I just need advice.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying that the motion is already covered by Council's resolution of the 22nd of July.
No, it's CEO. Point of order. I have the utmost respect for the CEO and our administration. This is in regards to the Live Goal-Free development plans that have been released, which actually include almost no information. It's the plan without a plan. This is a separate situation to what we want to be consulted on. This is about asking the state government for information to be publicly released. A very different scenario.
Can you just get another response?
Through the presiding member, the very comprehensive resolution of the 22nd of July and the resulting statement has asked for everything conceivably possible about the project. That includes the provision of plans, details of trees,
but yes,
the whole shebang.
Point of order, and apologies, I'm not intending to get into debate with the CEO. I acknowledge and agree with everything he just said. I'm not debating that at all. This is not about seeking consultation with the Premier, which we've already asked to do. This is about asking the Premier to release the plans which have not been released in the plans that he's released. The lack thereof. It is a separate issue. There's a nuance, I respect that. And I'll make a point, Lord Mayor, I'm also not in any way disregarding the hours and hours, magnitude of hard work that he, the CEO, and our administration have put in to consultation and negotiation with the state government. I acknowledge that work has happened. I know that we've done everything possible, but this is about specifically the Lord Mayor, writing to the Premier.
Just point out that the key issue is you're seeking a response in before the pre-election caretaker period. That's what is actually being requested at the core of this. You want an answer? Yes. Okay. We can try that.
Yeah, I'm moving this amendment. I haven't got a seconder, but I would like a seconder if someone's willing.
Variation to the variation.
Oh, is it accepted as a variation? Oh.
This is a bit more than a variation. This is an amendment. Can we treat it as an amendment?
I think it's a variation, but anyway. Yeah.
Councillor Freeman.
I'm happy to second it for the purpose of the debate.
Thank you, Councillor Giles.
The reason I've moved this and would also I totally support the motion is that if we don't ask for very specific details in relation to what the Premier has already released, he'll say, I released it in the plan. And honestly, it wasn't a plan, it was a picture. It was a drawing. There is no detail on what was released, and I looked at it very closely. It's just like a concept drawing from an architect. And then the announcement was made that 585 trees would be removed, but we don't know which trees, and we don't know where the trees will be. We don't know how many of those 585 are significant or not. They said they would include some significant trees, but we don't know. And we also, I know that, my amendment as well around the Aboriginal heritage, I know that the Par 3 area, the Pitchawadley part of the thing has been exempted from the plan due to feedback from the Kaurna people. But there are many other very significant historical Aboriginal remains and in that whole area that need to be dealt with very sensitively in the process of development, and we don't know how that will be happening. All we know is that there's a commitment that it will. So I think it's responsible to put those two additional ones in, but I also support the motion. I think it's important that people can't just say, oh, we've released the plan, And that's what will be said. We've released the plan when it isn't a plan. It's and we put in what we want to be consulted on, and that by then it will be too late for the public to get a sense of what this development actually will look like. I know there's great concern about the number of trees being cut down, and I think the public has a right to know which of those trees that are currently there are going to be cut down.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'll just speak to this briefly. I am curious about this development, as I'm sure many are. I also like detail. I'd quite like to get my eyes on some of this information. And I suppose I'm comfortable in supporting this because the action is just to ask the Premier if he would like to share this information with us. That will be at his discretion, what he shares and in which manner. So I'm comfortable for us asking the question, and if there's any concerns with that, I imagine that we will find that out quickly in the response back.
So,
Councillor Davis, Councillor Abrahams Davis before you, unless this is personal explanation.
and Councillor Kouros as well. Sorry, she was ahead of you. Head of Councillor Abrahams today. I think you're being. Oh, come on, Councillor Kouros, please. Councillor Kouros, please.
Look, I understand everyone's anxiety. I understand that everybody wants the information. I understand that we've gone through a process in which we've requested to be consulted on items as detailed by the CEO. I understand that we want more information. I understand that we want to see the plans, but let's talk about fact. The fact is that you can ask the Premier, but I can tell you that he will not have this discussion with you. He has blocked us out from the beginning. He has not invited us in on any of the discussions. And to think that you can knock on the Premier's door and say, hey, can we see the plans, what the trees are doing, you know, what's happening? It's not going to happen, all right? So we're really making ourselves look like to our constituents that we are fighting for them, but you're really are not doing any justice to it. You're just going to be aggravating the Premier even more in asking the further requests. So if this is part of a broader campaign for somebody here, then I commend you for fighting for your constituents that you will be wanting to represent. But the fact of the matter is that we have tried our hardest to be able to have a seat at the table. We are not going to have a seat at the table. We've been cut out, we've been shut out, and that's all you're going to get. Let's take the aquatic centre, for instance. That is exactly what happened there. We were shut out and not given any response to be able to have any say in that. As there were people here in this room that campaigned that they could fight for them. And if it wasn't for the Button Terrace residents to get a QC to have that ability for it to be moved in and fight for that, then they would not have been able to achieve what they have achieved. So let's be realistic. Let's act like grown-ups. Let's just leave it with administration to be able to come back to us with the process that we've already been requested them to do, and let's just move on because we've lost this fight. It's not going to happen.
Thank you, Councillor. So we're speaking to the amendment. So it was Councillor Abrahams today, Councillor Davis.
Lord Mayor, I'm sorry, I might reserve my right because I would actually like to speak to the substantive motion.
Look, when the motion first came up, it was us seeking information, but now with the administration saying that we've already asked for this, I'm very concerned that this is the timing of it. We're about to go into the writs being issued and a full-on election campaign, of which Councillor Snape is a member. I'm very concerned that the Adelaide City Council is being used to advance that campaign, and the resources of our residents and the time of our administration is being advanced as a feather in that cap. As a result of that, I don't think it's my intention to, I won't be supporting a motion, given that we've already asked for that information, to assist Councillor Snape, potentially try to embarrass the Premier, whether the Premier gives the information or not. Either way is potentially an interest for Councillor Snape. So I'm concerned that it might not be that a member acting in the public interest would necessarily
Point of order. I think the council is skirting a very close line of maybe not defamation, but certainly bringing the council into disrepute.
Yeah, so I'm very concerned that the timing interests of this motion are at a very specific time, and I think that we should not be supporting Councillor Snape in his election campaign or any attempt to embarrass the Premier or get involved in that campaign. So
I take it you're
I won't be
speaking to
supporting
the
it at this
amendment
stage.
now?
The whole motion. I'll be not supporting it.
We can move on. We'll put the amendment first. Do you want to sum up, Councillor Giles?
Yes, I just want to make it really clear that I'm putting this amendment up because the two big issues that have come up in conversations with people I've spoken to, including Aboriginal people and people who are very concerned about the loss of trees in the parkland, those are the two issues that are closest to their hearts and they feel most strongly about. And it's in the interests of transparency. We were given a commitment as the people of South Australia that before the election there would be a plan out for people to look at, and we have not received that plan. And also there is there was a commitment to being there was a commitment to make sure that the community knew what this proposal was about. Is still really hidden in secrecy, and we don't know what the deal was with Greg Norman. We don't know what it's going to look like really, and my belief is that the plan stroke picture that was put out to the public was a way of ticking that box rather than being truly accountable to the people of South Australia, and particularly the residents of the City of Adelaide. So I'm moving these two amendments to highlight those two in particular, but I support the original motion. And I do think that at times we need to actually represent what people are thinking and feeling out there, not just sit behind the administrative focus of an issue, because people expect us to make public the concerns that they have as constituents, and that's what this motion and amendment is, and that's my motivation for moving the amendment.
All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. A division has been called. This is on the amendment.
Members, a division has been called in relation to the amendment, so just parts 5 and 6 of the motion before you. Please stand in favour of the amendment until your name has been called. Councillor Martin, Councillor Kabata, Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr and Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Noon. Thank you.
Councillor Abrahimzadeh wants to speak on the motion.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. The 2 points that I did want to make has already been covered by the other speakers, but I guess I'll just reiterate those, and that is that the first point that I wanted to make is that yes, something like this would, I believe, would agitate the state government, and that there's a danger that we would be further sidelined by the state government. Now, what does further sidelined look like? I don't know, Lord Mayor, but if I was to speculate, we'll look at what's happened with the golf course. We look at the Adelaide Parklands Act. We know that that piece of legislation manages and I guess the management and the governing of the parklands is captured in that legislation, and that legislation sits with state government, not with us. So if one was to speculate, you could say that further sidelining means looking at that piece of legislation and further sidelining the council. The second point I was going to make with respect to the mover is that we know that he's a candidate that's running for the state government, the state elections in March. That's a point that Councillor Davis made, and I was actually going to bundle Councillor Davis in that and say we potentially have two candidates that may be running in state elections, but I would just like to highlight that, Lord Mayor, because I think it is important that we don't get involved in those sorts of issues and in those sorts of politics, and that we stay as neutral as possible.
we're elected to the council to represent the people of Adelaide, the voters, the the business voters and the residents. And these are the things that they're concerned about. And if it's going to take 10 minutes for the Lord Mayor to write an email to the Premier and the Premier's going to give us a reply with whatever he's going to give us, I don't see a problem with that. I think we can ask for this. It's very specific that we're asking for information about the plans. I know we've got the consultation already, and just getting this, it's just an email. It's not a big deal. It's not going to upset the Premier.
Point of order, Lord Mayor.
Point of order.
I just need to make a point of order that the email has already been sent to the Premier, and I'm just making a point of order on the matter that the clarification on that an email has already been sent on the 22nd of January.
Have you sent an email asking for the detailed plans following the release of the plan?
Is that a question?
It is a question that relates to the point of order.
I do send letters, sign them, and then they get scanned and sent by email. And this was a request that was signed and sent by email.
And it related to exactly this information request?
There was not the request to be a pre-election response, but the broad scope of the matters were within the letter, I think.
I think it's not a bad thing to ask for a little bit more detail. It's always good to have more detail, and it's quite possible that the reason they didn't have the detail at the time was they were only at, first part of the design period. It's been a bit of time since then. Let's just get on with it. It's just an email.
Thank you. I respect the opinions that have been put forward today, but I don't think the Premier is going to be raining smoke and brimstone, fire and brimstone upon the council after receiving a polite letter from a Lord Mayor just asking for a bit more detail here and there. So I'm not afraid or intimidated by that prospect, and I suggest that my fellow councillors should not be as well. To Councillor Kouros's point, I agree completely. We have been locked out from the get-go, and it is very, very disappointing. But I'm one of those people. If a door slams in my face, I don't get sad and sit down and cry myself asleep at night or rock back and forth. I get up, knock on the door, and keep knocking. Especially when it comes to advocating for our constituents, our residents, and our ratepayers. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to keep pushing and to keep advocating and fighting for that information. Look, this isn't. Another point has been raised about the upcoming state election. We're all, or most of us, I imagine here, could be running for election at the end of this year. Does that mean that from, July, August onwards, we'll all be voting each other's motions down, not on principle or on policy, but just because we don't want another councillor to succeed?
Councillor, can you keep to the motion?
Apologies, Lord Mayor. Apologies, Lord Mayor. This motion is quite simply about good representation from us. It's about good policy. It's about transparency, and it's about accountability. That is all. It's about asking a few questions. And with that, I urge my fellow elected members to back this motion.
Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you. Did someone call a division? A division has been called.
Councillors, a division has been called in relation to the substantive motion before you. Please stand in favour of the motion until your name has been called. Councillor Martin, Councillor Kabata, Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr, and Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Noon. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on now to the next item, which is Councillor Kabata, 14.2. You have a motion?
Yes, I do. Do I have a seconder?
Can I just ask, Councillor Kouros? Now, Councillor Kabata, did I think that you were going to have a variation, or is this as printed?
Yes, I do. I'll send it through to administration.
Can you just tell me what's on the screen? Is that the variation?
No.
Okay, so you're moving a variation as an alternative motion to the one printed.
Yes.
Can we just clarify what's different about it so people know? And maybe you can speak to it.
The parts in red is what's different to my original motion.
Or maybe you can speak to it.
The items in red are the variation.
Yeah.
Sorry?
The items in red are the variation.
Yes.
That's right.
Would you like just to speak to it in general?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Lord Mayor. I've put this motion on notice forward. I want to get a good understanding of what hospitality businesses in the city are paying in terms of rates and a bunch of other questions. It's not about abolishing outdoor dining fees. It's about getting information before making a decision to come to council so we can have a look at it and then make an informed decision before we proceed with next steps. So all this motion is asking for, similar to Councillor Snape's motion before me, is just for information so that I can come back to council. That's it.
Thank you. Your seconder, Councillor Kouros? No. Councillor Noon? Can you tell me what your amendment is? I think your amendment is the parklet, isn't it?
No, it's everything in red, Lord Mayor, and the strikeouts.
Lord Mayor, can we clarify whether this is an amendment on top of the varied motion or whether it's an amendment to the original
I'm
motion?
just trying to work out whether Councillor Kabada has incorporated much of this. He talks about compliance. Can you just give me a moment while we just look at...
Lord Mayor, can we break for 5 minutes?
I think we're going to have to break for 5 minutes because my information is that they incorporated...
Can I move that we break?
Is anyone seconding Carmel's?
No one has seconded it.
Sorry?
No one has seconded it.
So, members, we are under the impression that there's been collaboration and incorporation, and it looks as though we have everything except to include parklets, don't we?
If I can... Through the presiding member, if I can assist the chamber. So the proposed amendment, 1, 2, 3, 4, consistent. 5, there's a slight variation to language. Actually, any potential barriers that might discourage or limit outdoor dining potential. Parklet is an additional word. So essentially the preamble for 5, apart from the inclusion of the word parklet, is consistent with the varied motion. Item A does not appear to be incorporated in the varied motion. B through to H are already incorporated in the varied motion.
Okay, it seems to me, we've got to move forward here. And both of them have, I think that we need to have another colour, and I will accept A, current revenue generated from outdoor dining permit fees and parklets. I'm just trying to get this right, so is that Councillor Noon's? Sorry? Can we look at the one with the variation then and work for that? Sorry, I'm just trying to find a way through this. Can I just have some assistance from Councillor Noon? 6. Can we go down to 6? It seems that A has to be a different colour and foot parklets. Different colour, please.
Including parklets.
And including parklets.
Not just no and, including parklets.
Including parklets.
My amendment was far more than just parklets, which I sent through to the entire council earlier today. And it was the amendment that both Councillor Freeman and I worked on, and did actually advise Councillor Kabada of our changes. It was quite substantial, sorry.
I know that you have your motion, but I think that Councillor Kabada has also got his motion, and I'm trying to give you an amendment that will incorporate what is absolutely different. If you're not happy with including parklets and the whatever else we can find.
I have just seen Councillor Kabada's incorporation of my amendments, and I haven't actually compared them to my amendment. They were very substantially different at lunchtime today. But obviously, well, I didn't know that
but
the
I think
original
if we all
motion
agree
was very
this is
different.
what we want to do, we can either vote for it or against it,
Well,
or we can defer the item.
I'd like to read it through to see how different it is to my amendment. Yes, I would like another 5 minutes to actually compare my amendment to what he's put forward.
Minutes, thank you. into the session, and if I could just ask Councillor Noon, I think her amendment is identical on most grounds except the parklets and the criteria.
Lord Mayor, I'm happy to accept the variations that you've suggested based on the amendments that Councillor Noon's put forward, the Deputy Lord Mayor's put forward.
Sorry, do you mean to take all of the variations?
No, just the parklets and then the other part you suggested.
So the one that I think you should is different.
Councillor Noon, if you're happy with that, would be criteria introduced if the fees are permanently waived or incentivised, which will be 8, would it be?
No, it's 6C.
It's 6C, and 6A would have including parklets. I think then that they are absolutely lined up without any difference. So would you be happy, Councillor, if he incorporated those?
I do actually think that my amendment flows better, and obviously Councillor Kabata has incorporated most of Councillor Freeman and my suggestions. It would have been nice to actually know this prior to the council meeting, but I would like to speak to this motion.
So the variation has been accepted by you and your seconder, who's Councillor Couros? Yes. The variation has been accepted. Now, Councillor Kabata has actually spoken. I present my right. We'll just waive the idea that you can take it as a variation. I think we're taking it as a variation. Councillor Noon, do you want to speak against it?
Or for it?
Sorry, can I
Do you want to speak
to
for it? Councillor Stephen-Tritt and
After
then
working
Councillor
with
Davis.
Councillor Freeman over the weekend on this amendment and this motion, and also Councillor Kabata, I don't think, yes, it's great to see that we've aligned on this. I believe that some of the stuff that we put forward that Councillor Kabata has actually incorporated expands and strengthens the original motion that was actually published, and addresses the critical barriers that currently discourage or limit outdoor dining and parklet potential. This includes not only fees but also incentives, red tape, application complexity, compliance requirements, operational constraints, and opportunities to grow outdoor dining in areas where it has not been realised, including the installation of parklets. Importantly, this approach aligns directly with Council's strategic objectives around economic development, city activation, and the removal of unnecessary barriers that may discourage business participation. This is not a new conversation. It brings together several previous motions, workshops and discussions on outdoor dining, including my unsuccessful 2023 motion seeking a review of outdoor dining fees prior to reinstatement after they were waived in various capacities by the previous two councils since 2016. A further unsuccessful 2024 motion proposing a seasonal waiver between May and October when outdoor dining is less utilised, and a late 2024 motion regarding the unnecessary parklet fee linked to car park revenue, which since has been addressed. But you would think I would give up, but I'm still in there fighting for our hospitality industry and for the vibrancy of this city. Further to this, after speaking with the Associate Director of Regulatory Services today, I am comfortable that a substantial amount of information that has been gathered over the past 3 years, given how often this matter has been raised at Council and Committee, supported by workshops and even a survey conducted during this council term that Councillor Couros actually instigated. As a result, the proposed timing for the workshop is entirely achievable and is well aligned with the 26-27 business plan and budget process, allowing Council to firmly consider this issue in a structured, informed way. Thank God. Hopefully this gets up finally, because we have been fluffing around about this for a long time. We have a lot of information. Let's put it together in a report. Let's actually look at it, and let's actually help the businesses, the hospitality industry in Adelaide to progress and cut the red tape when and where we can.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Can I just begin by saying thank you to Councillor Cabata for putting forward the motion, also to the work of Councillor Freeman, Councillor Noon, in terms of what's come before us tonight, and also recognising the long-standing commitment of Deputy Lord Mayor and other councillors on this issue. I think this is something that is of broad interest across the chamber. I did want to flag a couple of issues that I'll be particularly interested in when we go through and receive a report. One of them, Lord Mayor, is budget. It's the money. And so I can see that we're being asked here, or the report will look into the dollars. But one of the reasons why this hasn't been able to get progressed in the past is that we weren't able to identify funds to pay for it. So I hope in seeing the dollars come forward for what would be a worthwhile initiative, we're also able to consider through our budget process how we'll pay for it. The other issue I'd like to see us address through the report, or perhaps it will need to be after, is that we have previously discussed a principle that when we're looking at managing the public realm, it's our responsibility to manage the public realm on behalf of the public, and we've therefore looked for payment when that is being used, whether it's outdoor dining, whether it's events in places like the parklands. We've had a general principle that we need to operate to, but I'm confident in the way this has been framed that we'll get information on both of those items. We can look at how to progress this as part of the budget for next year. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Councillor David.
I'd just like to claim that I was the original person who suggested for council to get rid of and make it clear that it's my advocacy that has led us to this point. I don't recognise Councillor Cabata's motion in any way as contributing anything to this city, and I claim full credit for everything that's gone well, and I distance myself from everything that's gone badly, but ultimately all source of joy in this world is because of me. Thank you.
Thank you for that joyful comment. Councillor Kouros.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Oh, sorry. No, sure. No, you can go.
Thank you, Councillor Kouros. Thank you, Lord Mayor. So this motion has been a group assignment and did get there in the end. There are a few bumps along the road. I did want to talk to some of the red text in here, in the amendment. So I've had conversations with quite a few of the hospitality businesses in the city as well. Cost, of course, is a factor. I'm sure everyone would love to have a bit of relief in that regard, but I have received feedback about other factors inhibiting outdoor dining in the city. There's been comments about the process of when fees were reintroduced, the ongoing process of measuring and making adjustments generally. Some venues don't have any opportunity for outdoor dining at all because they are limited by verge space, or I don't know, there's something adjacent. So the addition here about all potential barriers is to make sure that we're investigating all of these in full. We can look at fees first if that's preferred by the mover, and I think there's wording in here to that effect. But I do think we need to fully understand the problem so that we can identify what the potential solutions are for all of those problems and prioritise them within the budget. Administration, do you mind just scrolling down to the bottom? I think that's all I want to talk to. Sorry, if you go up again. Great, thanks. So F and G. Just to talk to G, I've already talked about what some of those other barriers are. I'm really interested in parts of the city where there's no outdoor dining at all. I think it's one thing to support the outdoor dining we have, and maybe there's some efficiencies we can gain there, but there's plenty of streets that have nothing. For example, Sturt Street, where I live, there's no outdoor dining at all. There was one cafe. They've recently lost that outdoor dining, and I'm really interested why. They did say it was a procedural thing, not cost. But I think we need to be investing in where the actual potential is in the city for outdoor dining and where it's not being realised and why. That may not be a quick process. It might be engaging all these businesses, but I certainly think it's something we need to understand as part of this broader investigation, and so I trust that these additions do that.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I just want to give everyone a little brief history lesson. Former Central Ward councillor and former Deputy Lord Mayor in 2019, Hassam Abiad, is actually the one that took the strength to abolish outdoor... sorry, no. It was actually Hassam Abiad that abolished outdoor dining fees. And with that, we actually requested to restrict the red tape. And with that, we had the wanting to create a very vibrant city. Then we obviously had COVID, in which I had a motion in which we continued the abolishing the outdoor dining fee during this period. Come this council, this council reintroduced the outdoor dining fees, which I want to note that I'm voted against every single budget of this council, and one of the fact is because of the introduction of these fees. I think what people need to understand is, while I'm all for this motion, I'm happy to do investigation, I'm happy for the new councillors to have an understanding on how outdoor dining works and how we look at the red tape, and I know there are a lot of the new members here. So before we even, if we do get to that point, talk about the budget, talk about how the impacts, happy to do that. But at the end of the day, as they say, abolishing outdoor dining fees is what gives vibrancy to the city, because it's an enabling factor. It enables people to be able to do that for their business. It is a cost factor for their business. It is what they look for in reducing their costs. You have to understand that the commercial rate is applied when they look at the square meterage that they charge hospitality business. They pay a higher rate knowing that they have that outdoor area. So they actually are paying that within their rent. And guess what? That actually benefits us, because if their rent goes up, lo and behold, our rates go up. And that is what we're looking for. We're looking for increased revenue at our budget. We already are getting that. They take care of their outdoor dining. They make sure it's clean and they make sure it's pristine. If they don't have outdoor dining area out there, like it's commented that some businesses don't, that area is not taken care of as what it would if there was outdoor dining space there. So I think it's really important for members to consider that it's not just the aspect of what it does to our bottom line, it's also the aspect that where it will increase our rate revenue, because if the yield is increased, we benefit. Also, we want to increase the vibrancy of the city. That is important. That's part of our strategic plan. That is what we want. And we are the enablers. We are the people that enable that to happen. We shouldn't be the ones making it difficult. I also want to thank administration. I won't mention their name. Sorry. Just to thank them for their work, because I requested to know more information about what the City of Sydney are doing. They actually have waived all their outdoor dining fees. They actually are making it easier. It's going out for consultation, so it would be really good for us to have that understanding of what they're doing there. Also, the City of Perth have also abolished their outdoor dining fees. We know that this is what our city people want when they come to the city. We have to be that point of difference. We have to be the one that they think about when they go into the city, that there's vast space of outdoor dining for them to sit and enjoy and be part of the city landscape. Thank you.
As a point of clarification, I should just point out that when the rent goes up, the valuations rise, but the rates don't necessarily. We put the rate in the dollar down quite often.
But the yield, it's based on the yield, Lord Mayor, so therefore if the yield is higher, therefore then our rates are higher, so we've actually gained from that.
Traditionally, we have lowered the rates in the dollar, though, when the valuations go up. Councillor Snape.
Thank you. And it seems that there's been a lot of collaboration and work done behind the scenes between various select members, and I thank them for their work on this. And I will support this, because I think the gathering of the information and the report is crucial, and that's something I certainly would support. Look, I've been on the record previously opposing wholesale removal of outdoor dining fees. That being said, I have come to a thought process, and I hope it can be incorporated in this report through without a variation, but just within an undertaking perhaps. I'd be very much interested in supporting a decrease in outdoor dining costs during the 3 months of winter, acknowledging that it's harder for businesses to fill those spaces, even with heaters and coverings and the like. They are still less used and have less economic viability in the winter. So something like that would be something that I could foresee myself supporting in the future, but not the whole-scale removal of outdoor dining fees. But I think that's the kind of conversation and nuance that this process and this report and the future committee meeting will allow us to pick into and discuss. So for that, I welcome this process and this motion. Thank you.
I'm going to, Councillor Martin, I was hoping that we were going to get to move the motion, and I know that Councillor Noon has spoken, but she might have a personal explanation or a point of clarification. Councillor Martin?
I'm happy for...
Councillor Noon, you had a question.
Just a point of clarification on what's happening in Sydney, because I was over in Sydney a couple of weeks ago and spoke to...
Councillor, that might be debating again.
No, not at all.
I think it is.
No, it isn't. It's just adding extra information about what they're going out to consultation on.
Councillor, honestly, we will get that in the report. I think it's a bit cheeky trying...
No, I just wanted to say that there is a whole range of things that we do better than Sydney, even though they have abolished.
Yes.
That they're looking at the red tape, that we actually don't have as much red tape. Okay.
Summing up. Yes, certainly, Lord Mayor. Look,
I know.
I have but two requests for the administration to incorporate within its paper, which I understand from the motion is to be presented to a workshop which will then discuss the matter with a view to something going to council. The first point is it would be good to traverse the ground related to the regulatory process. Clearly, any contemplation of removal of outdoor dining fees doesn't necessarily remove the permit process. The permit process is a cost to the City of Adelaide, and to have that ground traversed would inform the discussion greatly.
Thank you. I think they've taken that on board.
And secondly, in relation to, and there's reference at 6C, to removable dining furniture, it is council policy that we remove outdoor furniture and fixtures of the kind that Councillor Couros has, and many businesses. Well, it's a small number, Lord Mayor. It's about 80 in the City of Adelaide who have fixed furniture. I would ask the administration to also traverse that ground about what we might do to ensure that the policy is pursued in the future in action, not just in acknowledgement of the existence of the policy.
We have an undertaking. Those on board. Councillor Marr, who's going to speak briefly.
Very briefly. The costs of outdoor dining for a 10-metre square area, so a 2x5, $493 a week, or just under $493 a year, or just under $10 a week. So we're not talking about a massive cost here to an individual business. It's about, maybe 2-3 coffees worth of...
Point of order, Lord Mayor. Are we talking to the motion or are we talking to the fees?
I regret I'm not sure what Councillor Marr's talking about. Could you say it again?
Shall I start from the beginning? The motion refers to as an assessment of how this works, where we're at, what the fees are, and at the moment we can just look that up. It's $493 a year for 10 metres squared. It's about $10 a week. Okay, so what I'd like to see incorporated into this report, perhaps as an undertaking, I don't want to change the motion anymore, can we just get an average meterage, a square meterage size of the outdoor dining at each
I think that's a peculiar metric.
Because it would be nice to have a a comparable single number as to what we're actually talking about here for...
contextual information.
Contextual information is the going word.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we give you your undertaking.
Question, Lord Mayor. I've requested an undertaking as part of my speech. Did that get acknowledged by administration? Will that be incorporated into the report as well? I actually didn't finish that.
Through the presiding member, of course.
Councillor Martin, I think we need to move on because I can see the end. So I think we finished your... Yes, ma'am. Councillor Caballo.
Just quickly, I'd like to thank all the members for the support. I look forward to this going through. And I would like to thank Councillor Davis for starting this many, many years ago.
Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? That's unanimous. Well done. Now, Councillor Freeman, East West Bikeway. And Councillor Kouros has seconded it.
Oh.
Councillor Giles, it's already been seconded by Councillor Kouros.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, members. Thank you, Henry, also for giving me the idea for this motion. We've really kicked this first meeting off with a bang, but luckily my motion is all about avoiding them, specifically the bangs that occur when cyclists and vehicles get too close to each other on shared infrastructure. 2 days ago, the Tour Down Under finished in our city, and amidst the cycling frenzy, I couldn't help but think now is the perfect time to ask whatever happened to the East-West Bikeway. We promised the community that we would deliver an East-West Bikeway 10 years ago. It was documented in the 2016 strategic plan, subsequently the 2020 strategic plan, and it remains a commitment in our current strategic documents that we've adopted, including the integrated transport strategy and the city plan. So for 10 years we've said that we will have 2 separated bikeways in the city, but of course we only have 1. And the East-West Bikeway, we haven't done anything with that in the last 5 years. At a 2021 council meeting, the council at the time did resolve not to proceed with the design that was presented, and that effectively put the project on hold, and we haven't done anything since. So why did that design not proceed? The discussion at that meeting did seem to agree that the design was possibly rushed. There were some constraints and issues that hadn't been sufficiently addressed. But what I took away from that meeting was not that the East-West Bikeway is off the table, it was off the table at that time. And many of the members at that meeting agreed that this is something we should look at in the future. Specifically, and I hope that councillors present don't mind me quoting them, Councillor Abrahimzadeh, who was present at that meeting, did say, "I think we can all agree on the why of the East-West Bikeway. We just need to work out the where, how and the what." Councillor, you were spot on then and you are spot on now. The former Lord Mayor, Sandy Verschaw, said, "I find it incredible and sad that in 2021 we can't deliver an East-West Bikeway, but maybe in 5 years we can. 5 years is right now. How convenient." The former Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Mary Kouros, said, "If we can't deliver this East-West Bikeway now, I hope to God that we can deliver it in the future." Councillor, I am not God, but perhaps he would give his blessing to this motion before us. So this motion simply is to recommence the planning process. Where might this bikeway go? What would it look like? Are there options? Who do we need to speak to along the way? When are we going to deliver this? How much will it cost? 5 years with no progress is a long time. The one benefit in that time is that we now have the integrated transport strategy, which again, at that meeting in 2021, members agreed it's really hard to make a decision on something like this. 20 seconds, please. Thank you. Without that strategy that underpins that we do indeed want this bikeway. We have that now. It's been 5 years, and 10 years since we've promised it. So I really think we're overdue to look at this again. Right now, we are the 3rd council to be looking at this East-West Bikeway, and if we make no progress in this final year of our term, and it goes to the next term, that will be the 4th council to look at this East-West Bikeway. And in the context of the Tour Down Under, I really don't think that would win you any medals.
Councillor Kouros.
Only just to say thank you to Councillor Freeman for bringing this through. She's right. You know, There are a lot of errors, I think, done in the past, and hopefully we can do a clean slate and find a way forward in which we can have this east-west bikeway come to fruition. When I came onto council, there already was a war happening in the previous council, and to bring people on this journey was really difficult, and it resulted in a lot of anger and angst for a lot of the businesses. And I think that we can take a lot from this, we can take a lot from the learnings, and hopefully we can go forward with a bit more success than what we had in the past. And maybe we just needed this breathing space for a moment to be able to come forward to have something successful in the end.
So it was Councillor Davis, Councillor Stephen, Councillor Adelaide, Councillor Noon.
Thank you. I accept full recognition and responsibility for this great idea as well. Look, I grew up in Canberra, which was a design city by Mr. Burley Griffin, and it was a very, very well thought out city. And I could ride from my house to my school, which is about a 40-minute ride, and I would cross one set of lights and the whole way through. And I'd ride past a beautiful lake. I wouldn't be competing with cars. I'd ride straight past the Governor-General's house and the paddocks where I used to keep my horses. And that to me was the epitome of cycling. It wasn't, I did it from a very young age because my parents trusted me to use those bikeways. It makes no sense to me to put bikeways on major infrastructure, like massive highways where we're bringing in huge amounts of cars into the city, which is that's what we want to do. We want to get visitors into our cities. So as we investigate this, it makes a lot of sense to me not to try and make a bike a car, because invariably they will end up as one. My suggestion would be to look for pathways through the city which are lesser used streets, which aren't major commercial centres. I wouldn't suggest, for example, putting the east-west bike path through Rundle Mall. I don't think that would make a lot of sense, or down Hindley Street. We should find streets which are better able to encourage cyclists to use it, where they're not competing with cars, where they're not going to be hit. I am a huge advocate for a recreation circuit around Adelaide, which would be a continuous loop of overpasses and underpasses around the entirety of the city of Adelaide as a piece of infrastructure that would take our city forward and make it a very pleasant thing to ride, say from Unley to North Adelaide through the parklands on a completely continuous loop, uninterrupted by traffic and cars. That would be my vision for the city. But yes, I also claim full credit for this motion as well. And I thank Councillor Freeman for the spirited discussions that we have at the end of council meetings.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'll be brief. I wanted to commend Councillor Freeman for bringing this forward. It's something I was keen to see discussed further this year, and it's wonderful to see it coming forward. Just a couple of reflections, Lord Mayor. I'm regularly flabbergasted going interstate. It's never quite clear to me why other capital cities seem to be able to nail segregated bikeways and Adelaide can't. We've got a good example of a segregated bikeway running north-south, but the fact we haven't been able to progress it east-west is a major surprise. We have been criticised, members, as you'll be aware, for the way we've tackled some of the cycling issues in main streets. And I think this is an opportunity for us to get on the front foot now and actually demonstrate that we are looking at how to embrace cycling as a way of people getting into the city that is aligned with the city plan. Clearly in relation to main streets, there have been difficult decisions there, but we're dealing with limited space. This is an opportunity to look at a most suitable way to get from east through to west and find a way that has the least disruption from a traffic perspective, but also encourages people to use it. So look forward to this going through. And one thing I do hope, Lord Mayor, and it feels like there's a collegiate approach to this, is that collegiate approach doesn't descend into a nonsense argument around a battle of war on cars.
Councillor Abraham Zadeh.
Lord Mayor, I rise to support this. I do want to acknowledge and congratulate Councillor Freeman on her enthusiasm and bringing this into the chamber. Look forward to the discussion and seeing what eventuates, but I hope that, I guess the same as what Councillor Sivitri just said, I hope that the deliberations don't turn as contentious as what they were in the previous terms.
Councillor Noon, DLM.
I will be supporting this, but I'm interested in the 2021 consultation outcome, because in the 2022 election, I was lobbied heavily by very high-profile people to never support this, or else they would never vote for me. Of course, I don't like threats, and I just ignored that, but I do. But it was really serious at the time, and a previous Deputy Lord Mayor was involved with it. I still have all the communication around it. So I am interested in seeing that 2021 consultation. I just, if I could be advised of how I could actually have a look at that, or where it is.
I can ask
Imagine
the
it's in our
administration
members
if we can
somewhere.
Can we circulate the report?
Well,
That
give an
would be great.
undertaking to
Undertaking.
provide that
Thank you.
information.
I'm just going to say, Lord Mayor, I want to thank Councillor Freeman for putting this forward. I'll be supporting it as well, and I'd also like to thank Councillor Davis for all his hard work in this.
Councillor Freeman, would you like to sum up?
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I thank the members for their support tonight. I acknowledge this is really complex. It's really hard to get right. I know that the council in 2021 made the decision they felt was right at the time with the information they had, and I'm not here to prosecute that decision. One decision really is not many, considering the North-South Bikeway took 28, possibly 29. Hopefully we don't have that many, but the point is these things are hard to get right. I'm not specifying in this motion where this bikeway would go. There will be options that we need to investigate. If there was lobbying in 2022 about a particular route, that is unfortunate to hear, but the good news is that we are not revisiting that design. This is merely recommencing the planning process. I did want to share one final anecdote in closing. As I said, I've brought this to you this evening because the Tour Down Under has just finished. And there was something special about this year's Tour Down Under, if people weren't aware. It made some serious advancements in gender equity. So for the first time, we had equal prize money, equal media coverage and equal opportunity between the men's and the women's competitions. And I think that is A, fabulous, but B, relevant, because this is all about transport equity as well. We know that there are many people out there who would be interested in riding a bike but feel really unsafe on a bike lane. That's fair enough. There's parked cars, trucks, buses, all sorts of obstacles, versus a separated bikeway does make you have that sense of safety and then possibly give it a go. We also know that that cohort of people is primarily women or vulnerable road users, or vulnerable people generally, sorry. So a separated bikeway provides that equal opportunity in the city, not just for women, but for the elderly, for children riding with their parents, people with mobility issues, anyone really. And I really think the least we can do is provide those equitable opportunities in each direction. One of each would be just fine to start with. So members, this motion is about council keeping its 10-year promise, finishing what we started, planning for growth, providing that equitable opportunity, and simply recommencing the planning process and working out how we can move this forward. 10 years is long enough. It's time to stop delaying and start delivering.
I put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Unanimity. I think a motion without notice.
Yes.
Which is seeking a report.
And for the administration to consider difficulties.
Have you got a seconder? Is Councillor Snape is seconding?
Great, thank you. Some people don't know this, but flying foxes are in fact not foxes at all, and some flying foxes don't even fly; they swim. And it's been a increasing, or there's been concern raised today about bats essentially coming out of botanic gardens, flying over Rymel Lake for a dip and then getting stuck. And it was also raised regarding the contamination or alleged contamination in Rymel Park. So I brought this as a motion without notice so that we could get on the front foot and respond to community concerns. And I note that the administration has already provided significant information to us all in relation to the actions taken by the administration in relation to these issues, and I thank them very much for that. But I thought it would be good to put this on the public record in addressing some of the concerns raised by community members.
Either Green Adelaide or the department as advisors, because they would be more likely to give an informed view than the rescue group. Is that, can I just, if you're happy to accept a variation, can I seek advice from the administration? Which of those or both would be appropriate?
Through the presiding member, it might be a new 5.
But do
just engage and work with Bat Rescue and Green Adelaide. Just chuck in an ad and do number 2.
All right.
Nice and easy.
And you? Or is that the same thing as you? Okay, thank you for accepting that.
No, I think that's good. The reason why I think that's very good, but Bat Rescue, they obviously have first-hand experience with theirs, so, and they're the one mentioned it, so I thought it would be good to have a chat with them. Thanks.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Davis, for bringing us forward. We've just voted unanimously for 2 motions in a row. This could be a hat-trick. This could be unheard of, potentially.
This is Henry's, yeah.
And this one is actually Henry's, so there you go. Level of irony there. And I just want to say...
Quit while we're ahead.
That's it, council's done. No, look, I'm feeling optimistic about this one. This is something that I've seen a lot of concern about. I've worked with Bat Rescue SA previously in regards to concerns raised around Adelaide in a similar situation involving a heat wave. And so we are a good group. I agree and acknowledge the need to have serious discussions with Green Adelaide and have those kind of cross-stakeholder engagement. This is something that Councillor Marr and I have actually been discussing for about 36 hours now as well. In fact, I showed Councillor Stephen we were sitting there at 7 o'clock in the morning, the social media post by Bat Rescue SA and the actual distress being shown by community members. So I want to thank Councillor Davis for picking this up. I must admit, I started preparing a motion myself, but as soon as this went around, I read through it. It's great. I'm not one of those people I need to amend and do everything. Look, this looks good. Let's back it. Let's all, see what we can do to help these helpless creatures. And by the way, it's not just a bat. So there was also a possum earlier today as well. Luckily, it was rescued alive. So there clearly is an issue around that pond, that lake, and looking into the future viability of creating escape, access and egress for our wildlife is important. It's not just about what's happening during this particular heat wave. So yeah, I encourage everyone to support it, and let's have 3 in a row, shall we?
Councillor Marr.
Just for the purposes of anyone who might be listening, I know people are going to watch back about this one in particular, to highlight that administration has already made some immediate response to this, so they have placed some netting on the verges of the lake so that they can use that as a grippable surface, and any creature, obviously in addition to the duck ramps. So this, asking for a report, getting that further information, maybe we can get something more permanent installed in the future, so I think this is good.
I'll just mention one thing. I advise people not to pick up bats. They carry both rabies and particularly Hendra virus, which is extremely dangerous, and you do not want to get Hendra virus. So you might be helping injured animals, but please do not pick them up. They are dangerous to handle. Councillor Davis.
Well, thank you very much for the support. Echo the concerns of the Lord Mayor, don't get Henry virus. And thank you for quite a pleasant evening tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
One more time.
Clause, which is item 18. And there are 2 exclusion clauses. Councillor Davis.
I'd just like to note that I have a material conflict of interest in relation to the item 20.1. I think that's my stronger one. I also have a general conflict of interest in relation to the report, but given the defamation proceedings with two councillors, I have a pecuniary interest in relation to that matter as it relates to that.
So, Councillor, can I ask if you would be prepared to stay for item 19 or just 20?
The issue is that my car has overheated.
I think that's more information than I need.
No, I know, but I was thinking about leaving now because I need to go and call RAA to come and save me.
Thank you.
And maybe I should get a bike. But there's no east-west bikeway, so I can't do that.
So, Councillor, I can assure you that a lot of things are overheated today.
So I apologise if I take my leave and leave that one to you.
19, moved by Councillor Noon and seconded by Councillor Stephen Tritt. This is the confidential recommendation from the Special Finance Committee. All those in favour? All those against? Then we'll move on. Councillor Noon, would you do the complaint matter? Would you move that to confidence? Moved in confidence and seconded by Councillor Marr. All those in favour? Those against? We will wait till you've left the room. Have you all your shopping bags? Thank you. So item 19, sorry? Yes, I did. Sorry? Yes, we have somebody in the gallery that we would ask to leave. Can I? Thank you. Now we're Voted, and the series of censures and actions have been agreed to by the majority of council. We now enter open council again, and we're no longer in confidence. If I could ask you to look at page 7. It's effectively what's gone before. Is that right? Or the motion?
Through the presiding member, there's one minor variation. The recommended public resolution includes those standards that have been breached, but also those standards that have not been breached. So it's an enhanced version of what you've just considered in confidence. That's the only variation.
So where is it? We got it.
It's in para 18.1, 1.3 and 1.4. They are the addition.
Oh, the not breached. That's the difference. Certain.
Yes.
Sorry. So is that clear what we're voting on? So could I ask if someone would? Councillor Noon is moving, and seconded by Councillor Marr. Is there any debate on this in public? Not that there's any member of the public here. All those in favour? Sorry. We are now live streaming. So all those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, members. A division has been called.
Members, a division has been called in relation to the motion before you. Please stand until your name has been called. Councillor Snape, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr, Councillor Siebentrip and Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Noon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry it's been such a long evening. Thank you for your patience.